Looking to sound like you know what's going on in the world? Pop culture, social strategy, comedy, and other funny stuff? Well, join the club and settle in for the Jeff Dwoskin Show. It's not the podcast we deserve, but the podcast we all need, with your host, Jeff Dwoskin.
All right, Michael, thank you so much for that amazing introduction. You get this show going each and every week. I can't thank you enough. Welcome, everybody, to episode 31 of the Jeff Dwoskin Show. I can't thank you enough for joining me week after week, liking, subscribing, telling all your friends about the Jeff Dwoskin Show. We keep growing every week, and I can't thank you enough for your dedication, support, and love. We got a great show for you today. Episode 31 is going to rock the house. We got Bil Dwyer. That's right, comedian Bil Dwyer. You loved him as host of the BattleBots. Dirty Rotten Cheaters. You loved him in VH1s. I love the 70s, 80s, 90s. You loved him on Last Comic Standing. He's coming up in just a little bit. Very excited. And you know what else I'm excited about? The Jeff Dwoskin Show was named one of IndiePod's top 25 best independent podcasts of 2020. That's right, we did it, folks. We did it. IndiePods United, put together brilliantly by Tina Marie Trimpert. She is incredible. She put together this entire summit of podcasters and comedians, and it was so great. And I was honored to be named one of the top 25 shows of 2020. So thank you. I know you guys weren't there. I know my family wasn't there. So I wanted to put a little recreation together for you. It sort of went a little like this. We are honored to name the Jeff Dwoskin Show one of the top 25 podcasts of 2020. Oh my God, thank you. You like me. You really like me. I'm so excited. I want to thank the fans. Thank you all. It's been an honor to do this week after week. Thank you. All right. Well, thank you all, though, from the bottom of my heart. I really do appreciate everyone that subscribes, likes, listens week after week. You know, we've been doing this for 31 episodes now, and it's so exciting, and I still love doing it. So much so that we're going to do it live in addition to the podcast. We're going to have a live version of the Jeff Dwoskin Show called Crossing the Streams every Wednesday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. We debuted last week, and this Wednesday we're doing it again. You can follow us on the YouTube channel, the Jeff Dwoskin Show YouTube channel, or on Facebook. Check out the show notes for all the links to the live broadcast. Wait, Jeff, Crossing the Streams, didn't you have 2 amazing episodes called Crossing the Streams of the Jeff Dwoskin Show? Yes, I did. Yes, I did. With my friends Howard Rosner and Ron Lippitt, we dove deep into a lot of great shows that we're binging and watching. And we thought, hey, why don't we bring it to the masses week after week after week? And we're bringing along 2 of our friends, Bob Phillips and Sal D'Amelio from the Sal and Bob Show. They're joining us, and we're going to have special guests every now and then to pop in and tell us what they're watching. So it's going to be great. Mark your calendars. Wednesdays, 9:30 p.m. Eastern, the Jeff Dwoskin Show YouTube channel. Just do a little Google search or check out the show notes or go to jeffisfunny.com. All the information is there as well. And we're going to see you live. You can comment and we'll respond live. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. Oh, my assistant just handed me a piece of paper. I would be remiss if I did not mention the scenesnobs.com. They're helping present the Jeff Dwoskin Show live, Crossing the Streams. They're awesome. Follow them there. We'll also be broadcasting live through their channel. I do want to thank some of the podcasts that have had me on recently, Behind the Bits. I was on there. That was pretty awesome. I guested on Moments of Grace. I guested on the Hungry Trilobite Show. All those will be coming out in the next month or so, etc., etc. So check me out on those shows. I'm also on the We Be Geeks network. You can find the Jeff Dwoskin Show there as well. We're everywhere. We're everywhere. So exciting. So exciting. Also, you know what? I'm still in the recommended section of the Humbly app. So definitely check out the Humbly app. That's a pretty cool app. And when you listen to podcasts, they donate money to charity just for you listening. So, you know, you can listen to like a quick ad or something. It's pretty cool. So check out the Humbly app as well. So much stuff. I give you too much homework. Too much homework. Oh my God, I had a disaster yesterday. All of a sudden we woke up and the heat was gone in our house. Someone stole our heat. Actually, the furnace broke. And I don't know what it is about furnaces. Do furnaces only break during the winter on Saturdays when heating companies aren't open? Is that the way it works? So then they can charge you like $100 million to come out? It's a special delivery. What? Furnaces don't break on the weekend? I mean, come on, guys. I mean, what kind of what kind of business is this that you just aren't open on weekends? It just doesn't even matter. If you do something that services a house, oh, we'll get you next Tuesday. Tuesday? I'll be frozen by Tuesday. I'll be that guy from Scrooge, frozen to death on Tuesday. I need you here today. Yes, I'll pay you $100 million. Come out today. Oh, my God. Anyway, but we got it fixed, and now we're back in shape, and so I'm not freezing. Otherwise, the podcast would be like, but it's not. I'm fine. I'm warm again. So thanks for bearing with me. So I guess now would be a perfect time to pitch buymeacoffee.com/Jeff Dwoskin Show. I could have really used that coffee yesterday, warmed me up. But if you want to support the show, you're like, Jeff, I just want to throw money at you, but I don't know how. Just go to buymeacoffee.com/Jeff Dwoskin Show. Another way to help is, of course, support the sponsors. The sponsor this week, self-closing cupboards. That's right, self-closing cupboards. For when you open the cupboard and you're just too busy using what you used inside it to remember to close it. What you need is self-closing cupboards. Never have a cupboard open again. Oh, did someone just hit their head because you took a mug out and forgot to close the cupboard? Never again with self-closing cupboards. The only cupboard that closes itself. Your wife will thank you. All right. Well, you know what? I think I'm going to have to get those because I have a tendency to leave cupboards open all the time. So I'm going to check those out. I'm going to get them. I know my wife's going to be pretty darn excited for me to have those. So anyway, check those out. Support the sponsor. That's how we keep the lights on week after week. All right. Thank you. And now I'm excited to share with you my conversation with comedian Bil Dwyer. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Actor, writer, comedian extraordinaire, Mr. Bil Dwyer.
You kind of forget you are a writer, aren't you? You know, you don't think that just being a stand-up comic, right? You kind of forget, oh yeah, I write these things. I do, right? You don't think of yourself as like a writer until you write like a pilot or something, but all of us, right? We write all the time, or we should.
Absolutely. When you're looking at your credits, you got to pick out every single piece you can.
Writer.
Don't short change yourself at all.
But I mean, if somebody was saying, you know, if you were listing my things, like writer would be like just a couple above dancer.
Yes.
Because you've seen me dance. It's something, but it might not be actually dancing. But yeah, writing, I mean, I use actual letters and words and punctuation, and then I say them. So I'm a writer and an overactor and a stand-up comic. Oh my God, I am so screwed. At this point in life, I am screwed, man. I am so screwed.
Bil Dwyer, triple threat.
What is going to happen, Jeff? Oh.
How you handling COVID with the comedy?
You know, I've done some Zoom shows. I don't know. Have you done any Zoom shows?
Effectively avoided all Zoom shows.
Have you? Okay.
How about you?
I've done quite a few of them, and it's a little, obviously quite a bit different, but sometimes the other comics, I want to knock them around and go, guys, you got to pick up the energy here. This is like, people are just watching a screen. It's not like you're out, you've gotten dressed up and, you know, just drinks and a waitress and all these things that are lively and exciting, you know, there's none of that. It's people just watching a goddamn screen. So if you're not giving them something, it's just, like I'm watching it. And then they always ask, sometimes they ask, hey, comics, could you hang out and watch the other comics? Ah, fuck. I never used to do that when it was live. Now I have to, should I not swear, by the way?
Oh, go ahead. You're fine.
Okay. Okay. No, I just did. And then I was like, oh man, I didn't know what. Anyway, I should probably swear less. So anyway. Yeah. So when you do a Zoom show, it's a little different, but you're still doing jokes. And if you got a big crowd, you know it because you can hear them laughing, but you can also see them. And it's like, you know, you've seen crowds at comedy clubs, Jeff. Imagine those same people not having to get dressed and they're just laying around at home. Jesus, put some effort into it, everybody.
You're right, though. You have to kind of just go a little bit over the top. You got to give them that extra show.
Yeah, right. Because it's not 3-dimensional. It's a screen that they can shut at any time. They can just shut it. Oh, for God's sakes.
So just so everyone, a little background. So I met Bil. We worked together in 2003. This is why you don't shut off your Facebook, folks. Stay connected to everyone. Feels like holy crap. And I remember like I opened for you, and you were like the very first comedian I worked for that who's like Comedy Central Presents. I was obsessed with. Even
Oh
when my
yeah,
wife, even my wife was like, "You're talking to Bill Dwyer."
really? I mean, you were obsessed with mine, or just the whole series in general?
I loved yours. I love
Really?
your
Did
whole.
you? Oh, that's great. I
Just
mean,
your.
I liked mine too. I thought it was pretty good, but I don't know if I don't know if it overwhelmed people. But good. I'm glad you liked it. That's great.
It was maybe it was just because they played it over and over again.
Oh, was it? I don't. Okay.
I mean,
Did
I
they? I
remember.
don't
I just
know.
remember because I'm like, oh my god, the guy from Comedy Central. Yes, I was so excited. I was so excited.
I was excited to be there too. Wasn't that was wintertime, wasn't it? And that was the comedy club outside of Detroit.
Yeah, the Mark Ridley's Comedy Castle.
No, it wasn't the comedy. Was it the Comedy Castle or was it the other one?
No,
In
I think you played other ones at other times. But
Oh, okay.
no, I did.
You and I met at the Comedy Castle, which is a great club.
Great club.
Great. And I did just okay that week too. Yeah, I did just okay. Wasn't that was also the week with Chris, with J. Chris Newberg. Yes?
Yes,
Wasn't it?
oh,
Yeah.
yes, because yes, because for one of the shows, we all wrote something down on a piece of paper, and had to open it up on stage and do a joke
Right.
based on that
Oh,
premise. Oh my god!
I love that. That is so much fun when we do that as comics. And I don't know what I got. Do you know what you got?
I think I had like Big Greek Wedding or something like that, and I
Oh,
I
really?
totally forgot about it. So you just said J. Chris's name, then it all flooded back.
That must have been because I wouldn't have written My Big Fat Greek Wedding. I don't know what I gave you, and I don't know what somebody gave me, but I don't think I did anything great with it. I wish I had. Oh, that is always fun to do. That is always so much fun. Also, it's really torture though if you're not doing well. You know,
Yes.
if you're not doing well with the audience, and then you have to try and shoehorn in some bit that you've never done before. Oh, that's great. That was also, you did not go with us, I don't think, but Jay, Chris, and I crossed the border and headed into some Canadian casino where I believe I made some people's nights. That's what I think happened. I think I kind of tore it up there a little bit. I had a crowd gathering around me as I played 3-card poker blind. I was betting blind. Yeah, I had people behind me. It was a slow night, granted, at the casino, but it was a lot of fun. So I love that club. I love that club.
Yeah, I didn't go to Canada with you, but I remember I think that Thursday night after the first show, I took you to this place called Club Bart.
Was that when they have the steak bites, or was that
That was Cuomo's. That was probably right next to it. This was like some dive bar. And I remember it because I was driving you there, and you look in the back seat, my car was a mess. And you're like, oh yeah, I get it, Jeff. You got kids. And I'm like, my kids are never in my car. I'm so embarrassed.
Wait, you had kids back then?
They were probably just, babies, but yeah.
Oh man! And now teenagers. Oh, how exciting! And or going off to college.
I got two in college.
Wah. I became a grandfather recently. Here's my joke about that. When because of who I am and how I've lived my life, when my daughter told me that I was going to be a grandfather, I asked her, "Are you sure I'm the grandfather?" Come on!
Hey!
That's a great joke! I usually have to set it up with how awful I am and that I'm divorced now and that sort of thing. And yeah, didn't you take me to an open mic in Detroit also? Not an open mic. It was kind of might have been a book show. But
that was the Club Bart show.
That was a lot of fun. That's always fun, to do a regular show at a club and then go somewhere and do some weird, either late night or open mic show where people are trying new stuff and it's local people. And it's always fun, usually.
Club Bart, where I took you, was the place where you would go and you would eat it every night. You were like on this elevated stage behind one of these old cash registers that was going cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching.
Really?
The whole time. And it was like throughout my comedy career, I would always, no matter how bad a show was going, I would always think to myself, this isn't as bad as being at Club Bart.
How do they? It's so funny, and yet they always did comedy there, right? I mean,
Yeah. Oh,
yeah,
we love going there. It was just
right.
the shows were just, it was hard shows. You know, it was late and I was,
Isn't it funny? And it's like that was set up, and then once that became the thing, they weren't going to change it. Like, hey guys, we see that you guys are struggling, so we're going to change the lighting. We're going to make the sound a whole lot better. We're going to make sure the audience is comfortable. They would never do that. They're like, no one ever does that. It's like, well, people are still going and the show's running, so let's keep it as shitty as it always been.
that was the charm. That was the charm.
In fact, like good clubs always have like something weird about them, you know? You could talk about the Improv having the brick wall behind it, but that wasn't a normal thing. And then all of a sudden it was like that became like a comedy icon, you know, the brick wall behind the comic. Like Ridley's Club is cool and it's got some weird stuff going on. The Comedy Store is dark and filthy most of the time. You know, every good club has something, you know, when they try and make them too antiseptic, it's not good.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, now they want to be antiseptic, but they
Yeah. Well, antiseptic would be nice. Yeah. Well, we're just such a bunch of filthy assholes. What? Wear a mask? What the fuck? Yeah, can we? Just for a few months. It'll be fine. Take it easy. We can do this. No. A mask? Yes. In fact, when all this is over, we want you to continue wearing a mask. How about that? Oh, man. I just get so, you know, I feel like we could be past this, but we're not.
Nope, not till everyone figures out that it's not freedom to exercise whatever you want to do and die. It's like,
yeah, and again, there's always like, you know, the seatbelt example. It's like, you know, I know people bitched when they said you got to start wearing a seatbelt, but once they gave you tickets, you're like, all right, I'll wear the seatbelt. Okay, that's
right.
fine. But why? Yeah, why is it? Yeah, these people drives me batty. I'm sorry. I don't mean to get into it because it's probably something that everybody complains about, why everybody isn't wearing a mask or why everybody is wearing a mask. Either way, there's really no middle ground, you know?
Yeah. So yesterday, I think I was playing some kind of hashtag game. It was like stupidity in 4 words. And the answer was like, don't wear a mask or something.
Right. Yeah.
And so I get this guy going, well, what about people who have health conditions that can't wear a mask? So I said to him, I just replied, I said, well, just answer me this question. What should the person with the health condition do in a pandemic if they can't wear the mask? I mean, maybe they shouldn't go out. I mean, and then not to mention, it was only 4 words. I mean, I only had 4 words.
Yeah, the whole
these people, they extrapolate and then they
You've ruined the hashtag game. And also, what a bunch of what health condition says you can't wear a mask? What health? I always hear this and I think, what health condition is it? What is it? And I'm sure there's a mask you can wear. I'm sure there's like a higher end mask. So you can't wear a cool bandana like the rest of us. Get a nice mask with your health condition. I'm using air quotes now for those of you who can't see.
Right. Just be safe. I mean, the whole idea of masks, just be safe, protect each other, do what you got to do. But you're right. It's the same thing as the seatbelts. And it's like, everyone just sees it and it doesn't help. Anyway, all right, let's talk about you.
They need you know what they need? Like, I'm a little older than you. So I remember when I was a kid and like the seatbelt laws, like they hadn't passed like the full on, you got to wear your seatbelt law, but they were just trying to encourage people. And they would have these public service announcements where somebody would say, oh, I don't like seatbelts. They wrinkle my dress. And then there'd be this noise and this flash. And then this woman would be in a full-on body cast. And as a kid, I was like, ah. They scared the shit out of me. They used to have these PSAs when I was a kid. There was one about not eating paint chips. Like, I grew up, like, whatever. I was a middle-class kid. I was like, who eats paint chips? Who is this for? You know, they were Sunday morning. And then another one was, if you ever see a blasting cap in the road, don't pick it up. And I just, all I wanted to do was find a blasting cap. Like, I still have never seen one laying in the street. I don't know what a blasting cap looks like. I kind of know what they do, but I've never seen one just laying. I don't know what life was like before I was born, but apparently blasting caps were just being tossed all over the place. Anyway, what an exciting world that would have been. Children picking up blasting caps and having their fingers blown off. Anyway, you can talk about me.
Let's talk about you. The couple people that might not be familiar with the Bil Dwyer catalog. So you spent a lot of time doing, right after we worked together, I remember you were doing Dirty Rotten Cheaters.
That was a really good show. It's kind of like a twist on Family Feud, except someone had, the answer or the answers. I would try to explain. It was a much easier game to watch because I would explain it to people and they'd be like, wait a second, what the fuck is going on? You were just like, as you kept explaining, it's like, just watch it. It's much easier if you just watch it.
Yeah, that was great. You did I've Got a Secret, Extreme Dodgeball. You had a whole run. What most people know you from, besides comedy, would be the host of BattleBots.
Yeah, which you just heard if anybody watches Pen 15 on Hulu, in the first episode of season 2, they're watching BattleBots. So you hear my voice. So I've already put in my call to the Screen Actors Guild to get payments. Yeah, they're watching BattleBots, and I was like, "Oh, look at that! That's great." Oh, I'm glad people can't see me because I look terrible.
You look great.
So, yeah, that was a great show, and even the new one, it's not as funny, but it's still good. They got a new one now with Chris Rose and some guy who was a wrestler, a mixed martial artist. It's still a good show. The robots haven't changed that much. They're still big and strong and powerful. So it's a good show to watch. But if you ever get a chance to see it live, a lot of fun. A lot of fun. There I am. That's me plugging a show that I'm not on.
Because you're a mensch. You're a mensch.
Somebody else called me a mensch. Not recently, but I got a friend of mine who always calls me a mensch. And I never realized that. Maybe I am a mensch. Here, I'll be a non-mensch. My new CD is called Am I Yelling? And it's available on Stand Up Records. StandUpRecords.com, or you can buy it on iTunes. If you don't want to give a smaller record company your money, I'm sure Apple will do just fine with it. So yeah, it's called Am I Yelling on Stand Up Records. See, as I get excited, I get louder and louder. I don't mean to, Jeff, but it just happens.
That's why it's called Am I Yelling, right? So is this your first album?
I did, right around when we were working, I did like self-record an album and put it together called Lips Like Eels, Eyes Like Dinner Plates. And that was, I did everything out of the house. I burnt them and packaged them myself. So if you're one of the lucky people who has a copy of that is probably worth however much a blank CD is worth nowadays. Technically, this is the first one produced by an actual company with with real people giving notes and that sort of thing. Yeah, an actual company and actual people, not just me trying to make money on the road. Did you ever sell anything on the road?
I had bumper stickers I made once, but I was always like, I hated sitting there trying to collect money from people after, especially when you're like an MC or a feature. It's like,
right. Yeah, no,
it's not the most exciting thing to do.
It's also if you're the headliner and the feature is just killing it with sales, you're like, oh man, all right, I have to be better. I have to be a better person. I have to be a better comic. Bumper stickers, though, huh? That was a good idea. Not a lot of weight. Cheap. Sell them for what? $1 a piece?
Yeah, or 3 for $5. Some whatever.
Yeah,
or a couple bucks each. You know what I mean? It's like, and then there's the magical deal. It has like one of my taglines from a joke, which then if you forget to do the joke, you can't even.
Oh man, what did the bumper sticker say?
I think they just said brown chicken, brown cow. It was like a joke that I had where I would be like, I made that noise and brown chicken, brown cow. And then I would say,
yeah, right.
It's a porn sound. It's just brown chicken, brown cow. I Googled
it. When you said brown chicken, brown cow, that's what I thought of. I thought of the porn song. Yeah.
Exactly. So I had a whole joke and then a callback to it. And it's like,
yeah. And does it embarrass you now when you think about it? It does, a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad I have it because it's nice to have in the drawer. Like, oh, this is a little memory of like a moment.
For some reason, I have. I know why. Just because I took them out of storage. We took them out of the garage. But I have a lot of like my old notebooks, and I went through some of them, and just some of the stuff is just terrible. You read it, and you go, I don't know if I ever said this, but it's like, this is senseless. This doesn't make any. This makes no sense at all. This is horrible. What was I just trying to offend people? What is going on here? So yeah. So just looking back on your comedy career is always fun. Like, oh my God, we're doing a thing about comics and their early days. My Evening at the Improv is on Amazon right now, I think. Wow. I just watched one of my episodes. Oh, Christ. You would never find a needier person than me. Oh my God. I'm like rushing. It's like, it's horrible. You're like, why is this on TV? I mean, there's a couple of good jokes, but oh Christ, it is so painful for me to watch. It is painful. And then my opening joke is about my pants, and it's kind of like a sight gag, but you can't really tell on TV. Oh, it's so idiotic, Jeff. It's season 15, episode whatever. And that was my second time on. That was my second time. Why? I should have been better. Oh, anyway.
I hear you. I look back. I had a joke where I'd go on stage with these glasses on my head and then bring them down, and have someone call me from off stage and do a "Can you hear me now?" joke because I thought I looked like the guy from the commercial.
Really?
It's just like, I look back at some of these things that I like at the time you think are so great, and yeah, it's.
I auditioned for that commercial, by the way. Probably 10 years ago, or however long it was. I mean, that ran for 7, 8, 10 years. I don't know, but I auditioned for that. I mean, a lot of us did. They brought in comics, from all over town. They brought in a lot of comics. And I remember doing it and being really funny. And it was like, oh, well, then I saw the guy and I was like, oh, well, they didn't really want really funny. Or maybe they just didn't want me. I don't know. But it's not like you looked at that guy and like, oh my God, that guy's so funny. And then now he's doing Sprint commercials. Like,
Yep.
Who at Sprint was like, hey, you guys remember that old Verizon guy? And they're like, no. Was he like really good looking? No, but really charismatic, right? No. But his voice, he had a great voice. No. So anyway, I'm thinking we should use him. Sounds great. Let's do it. How is that sold to anybody? It's like, yeah, remember the guy from the Verizon commercials who didn't say much? Yeah, let's get him, but have him say things. Oh, yeah, that'll be great. Anyway, God, that drove me nuts. He's like, hi, this is Paul. And you're like, who cares? Anyway, am I complaining too much?
No, it's good to get it out. These podcasts are.
But I haven't seen it. I don't think they're using him much anymore. He has nothing. There's no charisma. Are we let's put him in really nice clothes, huh? And that, no, we'll just put him in some schlubby pants and a shirt. Oh, okay. All right, great.
They're probably like, we got you, Verizon. We got your guy.
I have no idea. That's just really funny to me. So anyway, look for Mr. Whipple to be doing some sort of other commercials. Look for Captain Crunch to be doing
cornflakes.
Something I couldn't even think. I wanted to say Lucky Charms. Yeah, just all of a sudden, everybody's. Oh man! Hey, you guys know the rabbit from Tricks? Yeah, let's get him for Weetabix.
That's too funny.
Yeah, I just thought about that last part. I'd complained about Paul from her, but now I thought, yeah, just everybody. Also, Mr. Whipple, for those who don't know it, he was an odd old man who liked to squeeze Charmin in a grocery store, and yet he didn't allow anyone else to squeeze Charmin, and he always got caught squeezing Charmin. It had a real pedophile-like feel to it, the whole thing, Mr. Whipple, and then, at the end of the commercial, he'd be squeezing the Charmin. You just picture him like outside a schoolyard somewhere, with his hands in his pockets. Mr. Whipple. Oh, okay. I never understood that guy. Just having to work next to this thing you coveted, and yet you couldn't touch it ever. Anyway.
And a whole generation of people with Charmin fetish now.
Yeah, and who have absolutely no idea what I'm talking. Right? Wait, Mr. Whipple was a Charmin. That's right. What are those awful bears? Those cartoon bears who refuse to wipe their asses, or who just is that for Charmin also, or what's that for? Is it Charmin? Those guys have got to start choosing some better spokespeople. Those ass wiping bears. Oh, Christ Almighty! And did you see the one where the kid's talking about how he doesn't need to change his underwear, like for an extra day, because the Charmin makes himself so clean? Just the whole, I get so disgusted by these cartoon bears.
Cartoon bears are the worst. They're the worst.
I mean, I was never a big Yogi Bear fan. I didn't watch him. These ass wiping Charmin. They're Charmin. That's Charmin, is it really? Is it, or is it Northern? Is it North?
It's Charmin. It's Charmin.
I feel like I should write a letter, but I think this is enough. I think talking about it endlessly on your show is enough. These ass, and then like sometimes they're wearing underwear and sometimes they're not. And when they're not wearing underwear, you're thinking, is there? It's the most disgusting cartoon to me ever. These Charmin Red Bear commercials, or Blue Bears, whatever they are. I don't know. I have no idea anymore.
When this show goes viral, there's some boardrooms. There's going to be a hell to pay in some boardrooms.
Let me think of other advertisements that drive me crazy. There was one where like I was watching football. Listen to me. I'm like a hack comic talking about commercials. So I don't want to do that to you. But, I have that in me. Just so everybody knows, I have that in me. I was doing a joke during a Zoom show with another guy who was like my age. And I was on before him, and I did a joke about all the hand sanitizers kill 99.9% of the germs. Finish the job. What, did somebody have to leave early? So that's the basis of my joke, right? And he gets on and he goes, "Hey, thanks a lot, Bill, for doing that 99.9% joke. So I'm going to scratch that off my set list." And you go, "Oh, okay. Yeah, it's an easy joke." You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying.
Nobody stole it. Nobody took it. It's just an easy joke. When you write a joke that's just a joke, like anybody can do that. But like if you're Richard Pryor, like no one's doing his act because no one can do that. When you just write a joke, you're so pleased with yourself. What'll happen is someone else could have written that joke.
Absolutely. I used to have it. There was a sign that said, "Kill or injure a worker, $7,500." When you're driving on a great bit on that joke. And but then everyone, sometimes someone would go before me and they had a joke about the sign also. And
Right.
It's like, can't get mad. Everyone's driving by the sign.
And we're comics. And I mean, there are those people who may steal your jokes, but again, a lot of times, especially when it's a sign. Isn't that funny? Like, you come up with, you do a sign joke. You gotta put a twist, it's gotta be like, I do a joke. I like it when I go into a small store and they say, "No receipt, store credit only," which to me, it's just a message to shoplifters. Hey, you got us. Now pick out something you like. So, and I've never heard anybody do that joke. And I was like, okay, that's good. Like if I hear somebody do that joke, I might think they stole it from me. I think I might think that they took it from me because I've never heard it. But I've heard other people do. I did a joke where I said I've been sober 45 days and then not in a row, and it's like, that is so hacky. That is so hacky. I thought it was clever, but I was like, oh, and then I saw guys doing it. I was like, oh, okay. Just like the old making a bong out of anything, and then you reference MacGyver. I don't know if you ever did one of those, but I did one of those jokes. And when I was first starting out and I was featuring, And the headliner took me aside and he's like, yeah, you're funny. He goes, you got to lose some of that hacky stuff like that MacGyver joke. And I was like, what? It always works. So I stopped doing it. And then 10 years later, what do I see? I see Screech doing the same premise and joke on some show. And of course, the rest of us had stopped doing it, but I don't think Screech was a particularly talented stand-up comic.
I don't think anyone puts a bar and says, "Are you as good as Screech? Are you as good as Screech?"
No, but they might say, "Can you draw like Screech?" That was the thing. I don't know. Like I think for a while, people were going out to see Screech because it was Screech from Saved by the Bell, and I guess people liked him as Screech. I don't think people liked him much after they saw him as Screech. After they saw him when he wasn't Screech, I don't think he was that likable. You know what I'm saying?
No, I think the rest of the cast hates him. And didn't he stab somebody? I'm pretty sure he stabbed someone. He went to jail, I think.
Oh, really? He might have stayed, and wasn't he? Didn't he make a pornographic film also?
I think he did.
Saved by the Balls, something like that. Listen, I don't know. I'm not a professional when it comes to writing pornographic parody titles. Yeah, he was also trying to get people to send him money because I think he was about to lose his house. They were foreclosing on him, something like that. It just doesn't add up to a great life or a lot of good decisions. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying.
I know what you're saying. Yeah, he wrote some kind of tell-all book as well. I think they made him one of those Hallmark movies out of it. One of those horrible movies.
Did they? Oh, I'll watch that. No, is it like a Saved by the Bell like Hallmark movie or
Lifetime? It was a Lifetime movie, I think. Yeah, no, it was like based on his book, like behind the scenes, the real story.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, can you? We got to find that. What is that? Who will send us that information? Oh man. We got to find out what that's called.
I'm writing it down. I'm going to find it.
All right. You don't want me to start typing now either, because that's not.
No.
I'm a decent typist. Back in the day when I was, when you had to, who knows? Maybe I'll have to find a regular job again. I went to an employment agency, and they said, "All right, we'll give you a typing test." And I said, I'm not gonna get a job where they need me to type. I can type. I'm fine. And I'm like, whatever, 30 words a minute, and they go, well, it's mandatory. You got to take the typing test. So I'm taking the test, I'm looking at the paper and I'm taking the test and I look at it and I was like, oh man. And I hand it to him. One of my fingers was one off, on the keyboard. So, and when you take a typing test for every mistake, that's one word off your time. So they actually corrected it. And they go, well, it looks like he types 7 words a minute. And I go, yeah, well, I was off. My one finger was off, And they go, yeah, do you want to take it again? And I just said, yeah, of course I want to take it again. Yeah, I don't want people to look at this and go, how does someone type 7 words a minute? Like you would have to. Like that would be more difficult than typing quickly. Like typing 7 words a minute would be so difficult. How would you do that?
It's like, sir, are you a sloth? Do you have sloth in the family?
You have sloth blood in you, sir? Oh man, yeah. Do you want to take it again? Of course. 7 words a minute. Yeah, and anyway, and then of course you get a job and you are on a keyboard, but it doesn't really matter how quickly you type, that sort of thing. So.
Oh, you know what I looked up before? I was like, I remember we talked about this when we worked together, but and you're the only person that would even care about this. Bil Dwyer, that's Dwyer, folks. Jeff Dwoskin, Dwoskin. There's only 3 core words in the entire English language that start with DW. There's 475 derivatives. It's dwarf, dwell, and dwindle.
Really?
And then there's
no idea.
I kind of looked it up, and it was just like, and that's out of like 273,000 words in the language.
Wow.
So crazy, right?
Wow. Oh man. And you told me that? I don't even remember that. And yet there's also a name Dwayne, which is probably the only first name DW name.
Yeah, I don't trust the Google that I Google this on, but
Wow. Well, I mean, you could just go to an encyclopedia and look up any DW words. But oh man,
It's rare. That's my point.
Dwell, dwarf, and dwindle. Wow. Dwarf. I used to do a dwarf joke, and then I remember Jimmy Dore of Old People, not the most sensitive guy, but a friend of mine, and I used to do a dwarf joke, and he goes, "Why are you making fun of dwarfs?" And I don't know if I was making fun of them, but I was making fun of them. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was kind of mean. I was just talking about their height, obviously. But I hear so many guys doing dwarf jokes, and it drives me crazy now. But he goes, "Why are you making fun of them? It's not their fault. They were born that way." I was like, "Okay, yeah, you have a point." And then I stopped doing my dwarf jokes. Also, because I would ask, "Hey, are there any dwarfs in the crowd?" It's like, what are you, a coward? You're not going to do your dwarf bit, your dwarf chunk if there's dwarfs in the crowd? Oh, God, help me.
That's a good sign that you shouldn't be doing it if you won't do a joke in front of the type of
Right,
person.
yeah. Hey, are there any women in the crowd?
Hey, there wouldn't happen to be a Jew here. Were there any Jews? No? All right. Well, hey.
Hey, here we go. Now, don't tell them I said this, but I wish the people listening could see me looking around. Okay, everybody. Because there is that old joke, how does every racist joke start? And it's a white person looking around the room.
Right. And every racist comment always starts, "I'm not racist, but there are words that just shouldn't be used. There's no reason to. Why? There's no reason. If you're not going to be that funny that it's worth hurting somebody. So why bother?" All right. Couple questions. So you were in Last Comic Standing. How was that?
Actual questions you want me to answer?
Actual question. I'm going to ask you a few questions as we.
Okay.
All right. A few questions. Last Comic Standing. What was that like?
Well, I wish I'd gone further. I don't think my heart was in it, and I didn't play the game very well at all, or else I could have gotten a couple of more rounds further than what I did. And then I will tell you this: it was a lot of fun. I didn't have a real problem with anybody, but I will tell you, and I think I've revealed this, but Gabriel Iglesias was a master of espionage in Last Comic Standing. Like, before we ever got on the ship, there was 20 of us in a hotel before they narrowed it down to 10. And what they did was they took all of our cell phones, because they didn't want us calling anybody. They didn't want us telling anyone. Gilbert had his actual cell phone taped behind the toilet tank, and he gave them a burner cell phone so that he could actually call his girlfriend. And then on top of that, because we weren't allowed to leave the hotel, so in order to leave the hotel, he made friends with the wait staff, and they told him where the service elevator was and how to get on that down to the garage where his girlfriend would pick him up. And then he'd go get McDonald's, or, they'd go screw around, and then he'd come back.
Oh, my God.
Oh, man. He was brilliant. I think they found that out. I think I think that's why he got kicked off. That's why he probably didn't win either. I mean, there were certainly a lot of people who could have won that. Josh Blue won that year, and it was deserved, and he's gotten even better, which is good. But Chris Porter could have won. Ty Barnett was funny. A lot of people were really good on that show. It was fun. It was bad being on the Queen Mary, I'll tell you that, because it seems like the other episodes, the other seasons of Last Comic Standing, they put you in a house. You run up and down, you go downstairs, you go out into a yard. But on the Queen Mary, you could just be in like the stateroom, like the common room. And then you would have to ask if you could go back to your musty bedroom because it's the Queen Mary. I mean, it's got mold on it older than either of us combined. It's the Queen Mary. I don't think it was healthy at all, but it was still fun. But I wish I had done better. Anytime you're judging comedy or talent and saying, who's funnier, who's this, who's that, it's all subjective. Look at all the people who didn't make it, who are hilarious. Look at all the people who haven't won the San Francisco Comedy Competition. Robin Williams tried a few times and never won the San Francisco Comedy Competition. It just goes to show you. It's just subjective.
All right. You were hot in Cleveland, Valerie Bertinelli's ex-husband. How was that? She's adorable.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, because we're like the same age, right? So when I would watch One Day at a Time, you're like, oh my God, Valerie Bertinelli. So cute. So cute. So cute. So cute. Then, as an older woman, so cute. So cute. So cute. I don't know how much she cared for me. Not that much. But, she was nice. The other ladies were nicer to me. But she was the star. She had a lot on her mind. You didn't have to be like super nice to a guest star. But she was fine. The thing about that series is that what people forget is that as the ex-husband, I was the linchpin. She was on the flight. She sees me. I'm not an alcoholic anymore. I'm sober. And all of a sudden she's attracted to me again. But then she sees that I'm engaged to a younger girl. So when the plane when the plane emergency lands in Cleveland, she's like, well, I'm going to stay here because why would I? Because I just saw my husband. So I am the linchpin. I'm the reason for that show, my character. Because when I was auditioning, I was like, what kind of name is Anders? They're like, like in Norwegian. I was like, okay, all right, okay. Yeah, Anders. And then I came back for another in season 2. Which I kind of figured I would be. As the ex-husband, you bring him back to see if you got to do that storyline. And like in the original script read, when we're sitting around doing the table read, there's a giant makeout scene with me and Valerie Bertinelli, and I was just like, oh man, so cute. She's so cute. And then there's going to be this giant makeout scene. And then after the table read, they're like, so great, everybody. What'd you think? She's like, I'm not sure about the makeout scene. It's like, okay, all right, that's fine. I don't need to make out with you. I don't need to make out with anybody. I like to, but I don't need to. But yeah, that was, she was like, I don't really see the man scene. And then you want to yell at her, be an actress. Make out with me.
So close. So close.
You're a good actress. Pretend like you like me. Now do it. So that was fun. Wendy Malick, I just developed a huge crush on. She was so nice and so kind to me each time I was there. And then the second episode I did, not the pilot, Tim Conway was in it and Carl Reiner. So that was pretty cool meeting those guys. That whole cast, I mean, that was pretty magical, that show. I mean, they wrote it well, good jokes, great cast. It was good. I was happy to be on a couple of them. I wish I'd been on more, but what are you going to do?
Hey, you got to take what you can get. Take what you can get. Yeah. All right. It's very cool. My other question, the Larry Sanders Show.
Oh, yeah. See, that was a gas too, man. And again, everybody's so kind. And just to watch, like Rip Torn and Jeffrey Tambor together, so good. I mean, and also Gary Shandling, of course, is a great actor. But those two guys, there was just, the levels. Gary was a great actor, but those guys took it to a separate place, to a different place. So it was really something to be around them. Whenever I've done a show, like I auditioned for the Larry Sanders Show and got it. And I got the call that I'd gotten it. So I see a neighbor of mine and they go, hey, how's it going? And I go, great. I just got a part on the Larry Sanders Show. And they say, oh, that's great. And then an hour later, I get a call from my agent, and he's like, they want to see a few more people, and they want you to come back in. They're not sure if you're right for the part. And I was just, why did I tell my neighbor? Oh, no. Now I'm going to lose it, and people are going to think I'm just this crazy actor guy. And thank goodness I was right for the part, and they did keep me on. So.
Thank you for sharing so many great stories with us. Bill, where can people keep up with you on the social medias?
At Bil Dwyer on Instagram and Twitter. 1L and Bill.
Well, thank you so much for coming and hanging with me. I really appreciate it.
You have the patience of a saint, my friend. You really do, to put up with me. I don't know. You think people will listen all the way through this? Listen, chop it down to 3 minutes. Do whatever you need to do. Make this entertaining. Whatever you need to do. I can sign anything, and you can chop the shit out of it, whatever you like.
I will. See what I... Okay. All right, man. Thank you so much for joining me. All right. Well, that was Bil Dwyer, comedian and actor. Funny guy. When he comes to your town, definitely check him out at the comedy clubs. You won't regret it. You know what else you won't regret? Downloading the Hashtag Roundup app and following at Hashtag Roundup on Twitter, playing the hashtag games, because you know what time it is. It's time for me to read the Hashtag Roundup Trend of the Week, and if you play along, you might end up on a future episode of the Jeff Dwoskin Show. Fame and fortune meet those that are retweeted at Jeff Dwoskin Show, and listed in the show notes and become permanent history of the Jeff Dwoskin Show podcast. Many people have gone on to much Twitter fame after being... Just play. It's fun. At hashtag Roundup. And the hashtag that we chose today is hashtag Secrets in Santa's Autobiography. I chose it for two reasons. First, it's almost Christmas. And two, Bil Dwyer hosted a game show called I've Got a Secret. Now, granted, we didn't talk about it in the interview, but he still did it. So here we got two homages put together. This hashtag is part of the weekly game hashtag You're It. Find it on the hashtag Roundup schedule. Are you ready? Are you ready? Here we go. Hashtag Secrets in Santa's Autobiography. Okay, now I got to admit, these are all verified by TMZ. We would not put this out. We are not Fox News. We verified all these. Secrets in Santa's Autobiography. 1, he's lactose intolerant. That's right. Don't give him milk. Not if you have new carpet. Keep him away from the milk. Number 2, he frequently hooks up with girls on the naughty list. That's right. Ho, ho, ho. Number 3, his favorite snack is venison. Makes sense, right? There used to be 15 deer. Now there's not. I say we launch an investigation. Number 4, he first met Miss Claus at a strip club called the North Pole. Interesting. We should really look into this guy. Number 5, he was the first person to say, I'm going to Disney World. Someone was like, hey, you just finished delivering all the presents. What are you doing? He was like, I don't know. I think I'm going to go to Disney World. They amped it up later. Number 6, he refuses to allow the elves to unionize and is constantly advising Walmart and Amazon on how to crush dissent. This guy is a harsh businessman. No one's getting in on his gift-giving ways. Number 7, Blitzen wants to write an unauthorized biography. And guess what happened to Blitzen? That's right. We haven't heard from Blitzen. So you don't walk around that North Pole and try and break the North Pole NDAs. Lesson learned. Number 8, he moonlights as the Great Pumpkin. That's how he makes all the money just prior to Christmas. Number 9, he was born Kris Kringlestein. That's right. That's why he gives a little wink anytime he sees a menorah. And finally, number 10, keep the milk and cookies to yourself because Santa wants a brewski and some nachos. That's right. And that's all the secrets in Santa's autobiography we're willing to share with you. You're going to have to go buy Santa's autobiography. I'm guessing it's available on Amazon or wherever made-up figures post their autobiographies. Again, play along at hashtag Roundup. All these tweeters are going to be retweeted at Jeff Dwoskin Show. Show him some love. Give him some love. Retweet. Download hashtag Roundup. Also, don't forget to check out our mailing list. Go to jeffisfunny.com. Sign up for our mailing list so you can get fancy emails when new episodes come out or when we're going to do our live shows. Cool stuff like that. And also, don't forget, subscribe, tell all your friends about the Jeff Dwoskin Show. Can't thank you enough for coming week to week. This is the end of episode 31. Can you believe it? 31 episodes. You've been here the whole time. If not, catch up. So then that will be a true statement next time you listen to it. Anyway, thanks again, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of The Jeff Dwoskin Show with your host, Jeff Dwoskin. Now go repeat everything you heard and sound like a genius. Catch us online at thejeffdwoskinshow.com or follow us on Twitter at Jeff Dwoskin Show, and we'll see you next time.